people. We are back. It is the podcast that must not be named. My name is Melissa.
My name is Luke.
And we are here discussing Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, chapter number 13, The Very Secret Diary. This chapter was 22 pages long and is 6.45% of the book. Luke, tell us what you think happened.
Kitty Cat Hermione stays in the hospital wing a few weeks to recover while continuing to do schoolwork and receiving a get well card from Professor Smarmy Pants. Harry finds a diary with the initials T.M. Riddle on it after it had been thrown through Moaning Myrtle. The diary belonged to a student at Hogwarts 50 years before, and all of its pages were blank. Harry keeps the diary with him, not knowing why he feels a certain familiarity with Riddle, who was a previous head boy and was awarded for special services to the school and also a medal for magical merit. The mandrakes are nearly mature, and no new attacks have happened recently, but the school population is still a bit depressed. So Lockhart takes the task of cheering everyone up into his own hands by sending out Valentine's Day singing Cupid dwarves. In the hallway, Harry is tracked down by one of these dwarves and has a specially crafted song sang for him, getting his rucksack torn in his own escape attempt. All of the books in his bag were covered in ink, except for the diary. Before bed that night, Harry decided to write in the diary and found that it wrote back. After a short conversation with Riddle inside the diary, Harry is pulled into Riddle's memory of asking Professor Dippet, the previous headmaster, if he could stay at Hogwarts over the summer, which he is rejected for, since the Chamber of Secrets monster had just killed a student. Riddle takes it upon himself to apprehend the culprit and tracks down our old friend Hagrid. Riddle confronts Hagrid and Hagrid's hairy, mysterious monster, only to have the monster escape. Harry pulls out of Riddle's memory and tells Ron that Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets 50 years ago.
We had two new characters introduced this particular chapter, one of whom is Tom Marvolo Riddle. That is an excellent middle name.
Yeah, definitely pretty neat.
And Professor Dippet. We didn't really go anywhere new, unless you count the past.
Yeah, it's the first time we've been to the past.
There you go. We've been to the past.
We've made it to the past. Welcome to the past. Next stop, today.
That's right. We're going back. Luke, was there some magic vocabulary in there?
There was a book called Sonnets of a Sorcerer. There was the spell Apparicium. There was the use of an item called a Revealer. And we heard about entrancing enchantments.
What do you think entrancing enchantments do?
It sounded kind of like similar to like love potion effects. It ensnares the senses of a certain person you want to enchant. That's my guess.
All right. So let's talk about the illustration in this chapter.
So, yeah, we see as you've written here, a creepy little dude with a harp. He's got wings, definitely looks like a Cupid type character.
Do you see the hair on his legs?
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like hairy legs, crazy hair, cloth diaper, wings, and a harp, singing with hearts coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Creepy dude with a harp.
Yeah, so that's a dwarf, right?
Sure.
So, I'm going to get into my notes here, and what did you think of Lockhart putting his full title on the Get Well card that he sent to Hermione?
I'm not even surprised.
Not at all?
Of course he did.
Like that...
Like, he does not know how to turn this off. He does not realize that, they already know me. Like, he's such a glutton for fame and for recognition and for people to know who he is, that even the people who know who he is still have to get the full effect of him introducing himself about how wonderful he is. Dude, they know. They're good.
Yeah. Do you think he has this full gleaming smile when he writes the Get Well card?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's got to come out, right?
Does he ever not have his full gleaming
They tell
smile?
writers, to try to visually with their face reenact the scene that they're trying to do to help you get in that. So
that's why my writing is so terrible, because
you
usually
always
when
scowl.
I hate writing. which is not a very good growth mindset thing. So kids, don't be like me when it comes to writing. I feel about writing how most people feel about math.
Yeah, okay.
And so when I'm writing, my face is always like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. This is so hard and I don't like.
Try smiling next time
I
you
will
have to
do
write
that.
something. Try to smile.
I will do that. Like, I have homework that I have to do tonight. So
I'm not saying it's going to work on homework.
Well, but then there's always like discussion board panels you have to post and reflections you have to write. That's as much writing as I do.
Try to wear it on the outside, and then hopefully it comes out in your writing.
Fake it till you make it facially. Okay,
Yep,
cool.
I expect a report back next chapter.
We'll work on that.
So, dangerous books, ones that burn your eyes out, Sonnets of a Sorcerer, and books that you can't stop reading. I would say that the restricted section just got a little more ominous.
No kidding.
Right? I mean, these, sure. Don't let those just lay around where you...
Maybe they shouldn't be in the restricted section at all.
Well, maybe there's a certain way to do it that they do have merit and value to them academically.
But how does one stop reading a book that you can't stop reading?
That's what maybe there is some way of doing it. There's value in it academically for it to be around, but it's very, very specific.
It makes Madame Pince her role definitely go up a few levels in my eyes.
Yeah,
if she knows the clues to these things.
Yeah, that, or she's there to protect people from these books. She's the security librarian.
She's the keeper.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Beware the summer reading program.
Beware.
Although, unlike that particular version of the library, this librarian is there to protect you from the scary books, as opposed to Night Vale, where the books protect you from the scary librarians.
Don't talk about the librarians.
Sorry.
No one talks about the librarians. But
they're gonna eat me. So
we started investigating the diary a bit, right?
Yes.
And Harry says that Riddle must have been Muggle-born since his diary is bought on Vauxhall Road.
Yes.
Does that seem like a logical jump to you? It does to me.
If I knew what Vauxhall Road was, I would probably understand it more.
Yeah, but why would a wizard not be able, not just buy a diary? I don't see. Yeah, and I see what you're saying. I just think it's a bit of a jump. Vauxhall.
Well, I don't know. I don't understand why he bought a book that had the name of the seller on it, engraved on it. It's not like I would go to a store to buy a journal and it would have Target imprinted on it or Barnes and Noble.
There is no Vauxhall Road in real London.
Yeah, so I really don't get it. I just never caught that. I just believed him because I just didn't know.
I don't know.
So I always went with it. I'm like, okay, sure.
I could see that going the other direction if it was a Muggle-born and they had something from Diagon Alley. Yeah, they're not going to accidentally come across that. But I don't think that applies going from Wizard World to Muggle World. That's my point. If he is a wizard and he gets something from a normal Muggle world location, that doesn't mean he's not still a wizard or wizard family. Malfoy could easily just go to somewhere.
But Malfoy wouldn't.
I'm saying Ron Weasley could easily go and get something.
True.
He's poor. Hermione
Muggle-born.
is a Muggle-born. Lee Jordan, as far as we know, is wizard-born and nothing else. He could easily get something from a normal Muggle London and not have someone assume that he was Muggle-born because of
I
that.
would like to point out the difficulty it took for you to find somebody who would fit your thing proves you wrong and how difficult it actually is.
No.
Yes. I see his point. It was, especially, yeah, no, I'm with him. I think, and I don't care as much as you do. I just
think it's a logical jump. It's a bit of a stretch.
I think it's a perfectly logical jump because most likely because you're not going to, as a wizard family, need to go to Muggle London very often. That's the point of having.
But there's no difference. Diagon Alley is right there. It's just outside.
But then why wouldn't I just buy it at Diagon Alley? Why would I purposely step out just to go buy a journal? When everything I need is here, and
they don't all live in Diagon Alley,
and I can use my money. The idea of having to switch money around. Ooh, here we go. Here's my theory. So
I'm buying it on this. Okay.
So I have sickles and knuts and galleons. I don't have pounds and shillings or whatever it is because I'm American. Sorry, people. I'm apologizing. Anyway, the idea of walking out into Muggle London with my galleons and my sickles to buy a journal would take me going and exchanging that money for the pounds or whatever, like, currency that I would need, then going out to buy a journal, which I could have gotten with my wizard money at Flourish and Blotts very
but they
easily.
all don't live near Diagon Alley. Like, maybe it's more of a hassle to go to Diagon Alley.
Because they can flute powder there.
What if they don't have flute powder?
Then they have to go to Diagon Alley to buy some.
I'm
Maybe
saying they
there's
could go to a
flute-
bookstore that's closer to their actual house
But
and just get a
Vauxhall
diary,
Road-
which is not a magical
Vauxhall
thing.
Road was in London, so if you're in London at Vauxhall Road, you might as well go to Diagon Alley.
As far as London's it's a big city. It's a big town. It could be on the completely other side, and it doesn't exist, so we can't prove this
And you
either
don't
way.
have, so even if you're nowhere near Diagon Alley and you're near Vauxhall Road, if you don't have any Muggle money, it's not going to matter. You can't go buy it anyway.
Well, I'm saying, so this is what I was thinking of. Let's keep going on this. We don't know a whole lot about what other qualified wizard jobs there are. We don't know that they only ever get paid in wizarding money. There could be some jobs that they get paid normal Muggle money too.
Because they're doing normal Muggle
and
jobs.
they do it, yeah. I mean, that's part of
Okay.
it. And also, maybe they do
So I'm
work
going to
with Muggles.
rephrase your theory. It's possible that 50 years prior to this,
Correct.
some orphan wizard who's an orphan because his parents died. They found that out in the diary.
Yep.
Some orphan wizard happens across his parents' leftover Muggle money from their Muggle job, even though they're wizards. So he can go buy a diary from a Muggle shop, even though he was raised by wizards who eventually died.
See, I'm not even looking at this as specifics for Tom Riddle.
But you're putting it all together. You got to put it all together. Like,
Well, I'm saying
the jump was made before we knew he was an orphan?
yes.
Okay, so
The jump
Fine,
was
I'll take
made
that out.
specifically that the diary was bought
So,
on Vauxhall Road, so he must be
some wizard
Muggle-born.
family who lives on the other side of London, closer to the imaginary Vauxhall Road as opposed to the imaginary Diagon Alley.
No, it's real.
The
It could be fictional,
very
but it's real.
fictionalized real place of Diagon Alley. The eye rolls are hard with this one. Okay. So this wizarding family, whose parent, let's assume a dad, is the 1950s or 1940s. Sorry, 1940s. Okay. Maybe the dad is in the army fighting in World War II
Mm-hmm.
because,
Yeah.
national pride or whatever, and being paid in wizard or in Muggle money instead of in wizard money. And the mom, who is raising said children alone because it's
Probably working at a factory at this point.
it could be, the kid wants a
Needs a journal.
journal and can't get to Diagon Alley without mom. And so he takes the Muggle money that his allowance
Just
or whatever
Probably a street
and
over.
goes and but this is convoluted.
That's not.
It's very it's a stretch.
I'm saying it's a stretch to just assume that he's Muggle-born because he bought a diary at a specific place. That is silly to me.
I am saying the majority of your wizard-born students and from wizarding families, they're going to go to Diagon Alley. Most of the time, it is a conjecture. I agree with you. It's not proven, but I would say the probability of it being a Muggle-born versus a wizard-born is high, due to the fact that most wizarding families are going to just go to Diagon Alley. I agree. I will concede that it is possible.
I'm saying it's
unlikely.
just as likely.
No, I think it's much less likely.
What's the benefit of getting a diary from Diagon Alley when you can just get a normal book that you're going to write in?
And I think most wizarding families...
It's like going to Walgreens to get just a 3-ring notebook. That's all it is.
And-
He just needs something to write in.
And
That's
my
it.
point is that he's a kid, so most likely that kind of shopping is going to happen within a larger shopping trip. I would never just run to Walgreens to buy a 3-ring binder. I would wait until I needed a lot of things and get them all together at Target or wherever it is that I do all of my shopping. We're going to have to agree to disagree. Can we move on now? Because this is overwhelming about a diary.
Harry not being able to put the blank diary down and he also feels like he kind of knew Riddle. He's like, I feel like it's somebody that I used to know. He's got a real personal connection with him somehow.
Yeah.
What do you think that's all about?
Maybe it's the idea of I we're both orphans.
Well, this is
Even
before
then?
we know anything about. This is before he even writes in the journal. Harry does.
Oh, you're right.
This is when he just has it around and he's just carrying
Well,
it.
we
and
don't know a
constantly
lot
lets
about-
flip through the blank pages.
We don't know a lot about Harry's life prior to, death of parents. So who knows? Maybe Riddle was somebody his parents knew who was around like when he was an infant. You
and
know
just
what I
somehow
mean?
there's some connection.
That osmosis piece of,
Sure.
and then it's a name that,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
And maybe there's some things that we should revisit
Okay.
on that later on. So, back to the illustration, the Valentine Cupid dwarves. What did you think of those?
I loved Valentine's Day in general. I loved the Cupids in a dear God, please don't ever let that happen to me kind of way. It was so funny. First of all, that Lockhart could find anybody who'd be willing to do that to themselves and dress up like that for the day. Like that alone. I wonder how much money he spent.
I was going to
on
say, he
that.
clearly paid for it,
Oh,
right? So-
absolutely. But I just loved the Valentine's Day stuff in general. The confetti, the Cupids, the risk of asking Snape for a love potion. Like it just tickled me.
Yeah.
The whole idea.
Flitwick's putting his hands
Yes.
over his face whenever he gets mentioned about the
Yeah.
entrancing enchantments.
Like it was perfect. And maybe I'm looking at it because before when I read it, I don't remember feeling this entertained by it. But this time I definitely felt entertained. And maybe more of it's I'm not the young kid who has to worry about the whole boy-girl dynamic, but more about like as a parent with kids growing into those ages, like, oh, that would be so funny to put that on you.
Yeah.
It's my evil teacher, evil parent
it's
side.
fun to pick on kids in harmless things like that. It's like,
Yes.
it's only going to help you grow. Hopefully, it's not in a bullying way at
No,
all.
no,
a healthily
it's in, like,
constructive way.
Yeah, like a healthy, like
Let's
ribbing
learn to
back
laugh
and
at
forth.
let's learn to laugh at ourselves.
Yes, you don't need to take anything too seriously.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's
So,
good.
I super loved that.
And so my final note here is Riddle must have been a pretty special student while he was at school. He's got all these different awards and special services to the school. Then there was like another one for like special merit award.
Yeah.
And he was on the list of prefects and head boys. I mean,
He's the pre-Percy Percy.
yeah, but he seems a little more actually talented. Like, not that we have anything against Percy per se. See what I did there? But there's nothing so obviously special about Percy, other than he wants to kind of be what Tom Riddle seems to have been.
Right.
So do you think this is actually something I hadn't thought about. Do you think Percy's aware of Tom Riddle's record there? Or is he just saying, these are the things that I have to do? Maybe there's more students like Tom Riddle that we just haven't heard of.
Maybe, although I would bet Percy knows about all of them.
Yeah, I think he's done his research on previous head boys.
Yes.
Was it in this book that we saw him reading a book called
Prefects of Power?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Who've gained power? Was that?
I want to say it's 3 or 4.
You might be right. I'll look that up and I'll cut this out. But no, Chamber of Secrets at Flourish and Blots.
Oh, so it was early on.
Yeah.
All right.
A study of Hogwarts prefects and their later careers.
I wonder if Riddle was in there.
I would think so. Well, I don't know. Maybe he was pretty clearly successful while at school. Not sure about his later career.
True. Who knows? Myrtle has some of the best lines in this book. For example, sitting in my U-bend, thinking about death. Or 10 points if you can get it through her stomach. 50 points if it goes through her head. I love it. Like,
Yeah.
she's morbid and definitely whiny and kind of a pain, but JK writes her so well that it's so easy to laugh at her. And she doesn't realize she's being funny, but it's so easy to laugh at her.
Mm-hmm.
I like her lines.
Yeah, I like her morbidness.
Me too.
That's the black streaks in our polyjuice potion showing up.
Very much so.
It's pretty funny that she's so aware of being dead.
Yes.
Kind of. Because
Right.
then she also forgets about it. But she's also very, you know what I mean? Like that dichotomy
Yes.
that she struggles with is very well done.
Yes. I also really want to see Peeves' dance routine to the Potter You Rotter song.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love the Potter You Rotter song. It was
yeah.
my favorite line in a previous chapter when it
Yeah.
first appeared, but I love that now there's a dance routine to it.
Yeah.
I
I
want
like
to
that
see that.
they could just mention Potter You Rotter song. And like, we can just harken back to,
Yep.
oh, that's a thing now. That's
And
it's
she
just
can do
there.
that for the next 5 years.
If she wants to, yeah.
Right. Like, we can just have that. Canon. Potter You
You're
Rotter
killing the
song.
students, you think it's such fun. It's just great.
So the musical message for Harry Potter with the Cupid tackling him in front of Draco and Percy and all the first years. So my overall thought of the beginning of this chapter kind of goes along with this. I want to see the Peeves dancing line. I want to see Myrtle some of these lines. I wanted to see the big, I feel like, and I know we don't talk about the movies, but this chapter is a perfect example of the missing quality moments.
Funny stuff that they didn't have to force.
Right.
It just is funny.
Like, we do not need Christopher Columbus 17 different swooping shots. But maybe, oh look, here's a big castle. Let's do a giant crane shot. Maybe we do a couple of these.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
This is the magic. This is the magic right here. This is what makes these books so good. These kinds of funny
micro interactions.
Yes, they make the year fill out.
They actually feel like, hey, normal things also happen at school.
And time is passing,
Right.
and we can document that as opposed to just, showing a tree with snow on it and shaking it off. Like, how about we show Valentine's Day?
I like that part of movie 3.
I'm just saying.
I get
like,
it.
She shows time passing.
By time passing.
You can do that. Sorry, and I know we're not supposed to talk about movies, but this chapter was the first time in
Shame on you for talking about the movie.
Shame.
Shame.
Boo.
Where's shame.
The old lady from The Princess Bride. Boo. Boo. Sorry, you don't know it. It's sad. You should know it. It's really funny.
It's on my list of things that I should know and haven't seen yet.
You need to move that up towards the top. It's amazing.
There's a lot of things all the way at the top. I continually reread the same things over and over to become an expert.
I continually reread the same things over and over. I continually reread the same things over and over.
I continually reread the same things over and over.
All right, fine. My point being, this is what makes her book so good and real and deep.
Mm-hmm.
And that part was missed.
I agree.
Okay. So it's February and Ron's wand is still malfunctioning. We had purple bubbles. How is he passing his classes?
This is 7 months into the school year?
Yeah.
Unreal.
It's ridiculous. He
must be incredibly talented that we don't normally see
for
him to be passing
really
with a broken wand.
Copying Hermione's homework.
Maybe he's really, really talented. I don't know. It's unlikely that he'd be doing even okay with a broken wand.
This is my point.
I agree.
Right. I would not have thought to try writing in the diary. That would not have occurred to me. Would that have occurred to you?
There's a blank diary. I like the way he finds out about it. That all of his other books were covered in scarlet ink, which I thought was interesting.
Yes.
That he apparently writes in bright, dark red. But I wonder if that's the only color he has, or if he's got multiple.
Or if that's
like a Hogwarts or Gryffindor thing.
Or maybe different teachers require different color ink.
Could be. I don't know. Bins probably just don't use ink because he's not going to grade it anyway.
Right. He can't touch it.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I probably would have just ended up using it for writing my lists because that's what I do.
True.
And if I didn't have Google Drive to take all my lists or Evernote to take all my other lists, it'd be nice to have a little pocket journal. I probably would have written grocery store. Oh, it just disappeared.
Right.
and then someone's writing back to me about my grocery list. What's this all about?
Why is my notebook questioning my grocery list?
Let me tell you about the Chamber of Secrets.
Why do you need a dozen eggs? A dozen eggs is excessive. Just buy 6.
Why is he talking about the Chamber of Secrets? I just need milk. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh my goodness. So we haven't talked a whole lot about traveling back into the memory, the time memory. And my only real thought on that, and it sounds terrible, I feel like we should talk a lot more. But there's a redheaded Dumbledore.
Yeah, auburn hair.
Another redhead.
Yeah.
I find that curious.
I wonder if it's a magical thing.
Maybe. They pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
Or is it just the proximity to Scotland and Ireland? That it's more likely to happen there than we're used to?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Okay.
That's a good point. I wonder if it's along with that, it's red hair is fairly uncommon overall. It's a recessive thing and all that. Same as being left-handed.
Right.
I wonder if there's more left-handed wizards as well.
Well,
I'm just saying. Maybe it's an indicator.
Being left-handed,
I'm trying to give you some props here.
It's kind of amazing. So I could definitely see me being closer to wizard than most of you boring right-handed people. I'm just saying.
I do a little bit of both.
You collectively, not you specifically.
You proper.
You, yes.
The royal you.
As opposed to the Oxford comma.
Right.
Yes.
Long live the Oxford comma.
I truly believe that is an important comma.
Legal decisions have been made over Oxford commas. recently.
Whew.
Long live.
So my last thought is more of a possible question. I was not in charge of the questions this chapter. You were, but I had one. Would you want to dissect a mandrake?
No, I don't really care.
Okay.
I'm not a herbologist or biologist.
I am not either. And I didn't mind when I had to dissect a frog.
I never
that was
did.
fine. I did in college.
I would have been fine with it, but I never did it.
I did in college and I was pregnant and morning sick. So that was an interesting combination of activities. I don't think I would want to dissect a mandrake because it's too humanoid. That's the part.
Uncanny Valley is pretty tough on that one.
I don't want to be a mortician, so dissecting a mandrake feels too much like that.
And for the listeners at home, Uncanny Valley, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's like the closer you get to something being actually humanoid, the more weird it is to see it not actually be human.
Yeah.
So look that up. It's interesting concept.
All right, Luke, let's talk about your 5 burning questions.
Okay, question number 1. Do you think that it was Ginny that sent the Valentine's Day dwarf?
I think we're supposed to think that, which means I don't want it to be. Does that make sense? Like, there are no other options unless it's Colin Creevy, who's been petrified. So no.
Pretty unlikely.
Like, those
unless he had it set up ahead of time.
You know, he's pretty
proactive.
Yeah. But I mean, we don't have any other options. There's no other like candidates for it. So like it has to be Ginny because she's the only
Except
one.
for it is the famous Harry Potter and
I
there
know,
could be a lot more behind the scenes girls and things that we're just not aware of.
If there was,
we would have heard something about it.
Yeah, it's Chekhov's gun. You're not going to put a singing dwarf in there and have Ron's little sister not be able to talk in front of Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And then have it be from some unknown third character who we've never heard of.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. I just wish it was. I don't want it to
was
be
somebody else.
Ginny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Question number 2. Why do you think Harry feels like he has some familiarity with Riddle? We kind of already talked about this a bit, but...
Yeah, I do. I think it's maybe something from when he was younger, you know, pre-Dursley that stood out, that he, you know, had some sort of relationship with the guy when his parents were alive and then, you know, obviously lost track or whatever.
Okay, fair enough. Question 3. Do you think Flitwick would show a student how to do an entrancing enchantment per Lockhart's request?
Just because Lockhart suggested it? No, probably not.
I agree.
Because I think all the teachers hate him. However, I feel like if a 6th or 7th year went up to him and was like...
academically, just interested?
Or even like, let's say, you know, he is the head of Ravenclaw.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's, you know, somebody who's really trying... Who knows? Maybe that would be somebody he would help out with that, but just a random 2nd year? No, not going to happen.
Question 4. What kind of monster did young Hagrid, have in the school? We don't get an actual description.
Well, and we didn't really talk about the fact that it was Hagrid.
I know.
With the monster.
It's something we've definitely skipped over a bit.
Yeah. Something hairy, like hair.
Something like Harry Potter?
No, something covered in
it's
fur.
It's a Harry joke.
Hairy.
Homonym humor.
Man, we're all about the grammatically correct things, even though we're not speaking that way at all today. That's really funny. I believe that it is some large, hairy animal. Probably, I wouldn't use the word monster. I would use the word animal.
Or beast.
Yes, a beast. That would probably scare the daylights out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But to Hagrid's probably no
I think
big
it
deal.
says it scutters across the floor.
Okay.
I'm thinking like the only description we
Yes.
have of it is just at the very end there, and how when it runs away, his eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
Almost there. A vast, low-slung, hairy body and a tangle of black legs, a gleam of many eyes, and a pair of razor-sharp pincers. Riddle raised his wand again, but he was too late. The thing bowled over him as it scuttled away, tearing up the corridor and out of sight. So, something with a lot of legs and a lot of eyes, hairy.
When I think of pincers and bowling over someone, what comes to mind is the scene with Samwise Gamgee and Frodo Baggins sneaking in the back door, quote unquote, of Mordor, and Sam
Shelob.
Yes, attacking Shelob. I could not think of her name. That's what I picture, but I have no idea if that's accurate.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Okay.
At least assumption wise.
Yep.
Question number 5. Do you think that Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets?
No, I don't. I think he's too genuinely good-hearted to be that guy, unless it was a complete accident.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like
intentionally,
curiosity.
no,
on
more like,
accident.
hey, I found this thing and we're gonna go hang out with it, and oops, it got out and hurt people. Like, I really don't believe he would do it.
I think that's fair. Like, I don't think he
Yeah.
would be maliciously doing
Right.
it.
And it
but there is a
sounds
possibility
like
that if he
stumbled
did,
upon it.
yeah.
Yes. My only thing even against that is that I feel like this Chamber of Secrets thing is an intentionally malicious kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
Hagrid
can't
is not
accidentally
malicious.
do it.
You can't be accidentally mean.
Evil.
Well,
Accidentally evil.
Yes. All right, so Luke, let's get into what was your favorite line?
So my favorite line is actually from Dumbledore, and it goes, "Well, hurry off to bed," said Dumbledore, giving Riddle exactly the kind of penetrating stare Harry knew so well. I like that this is definitely where Harry is starting to feel even more connection with Riddle. Like, you know, right before this, Riddle tells Professor Dippet, you know, that he tells him no, and it's the exact same kind of no. Like, hey, do you have anything to tell me about the Chamber of Secrets being opened? And Riddle says no. It's the exact same thing that Harry had just done to Dumbledore last chapter, 2 chapters ago, saying, is there anything you want to tell me about? And he says
Nope.
no. He's like, I think he knows more. Like, I think Harry's quickly realizing that they are very similar, Riddle and Harry.
Yes.
And it's nice to see that Dumbledore also treats them similarly. Like, at least they get similar reactions from things that they say from him.
I agree with that. My other thought on that would be, so my daughter gave me a roundabout compliment the other day. There's been a kid giving her some trouble at her school. And so, you know, she's like, yeah, like, so I just stare at him and I give him this evil look. And then eventually he leaves me alone. She goes, well, that's really hard. How do you do it all the time? Because I do it all the time. I do it to them. Like, that's sort of my thing at school. Like, I'm not going to talk to you when you're making a bad choice, but I'm going to just look and have a look, like, really. She goes, because you can hold that forever. And I'm like, it's a teacher thing. So I feel like that's almost Dumbledore doing like his, not necessarily a mean teacher look, but like that. It's sort of that person in authority. I'm not going to question you, but you know that I question you.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do it with a look. It's part of the reason why teaching is so much like acting.
Do you think it really was a teacher move that Dumbledore was pulling there, or could there be something else
There
to that?
could be something else to it. I'm just saying that's like, I think it maybe the look is a teacher move. The reason for the look might be deeper.
All right, Melissa, what was your favorite line this chapter?
His eyes are as fresh as a green pickled toad. His hair is as dark as a blackboard. I wish he were mine. He's really divine. The hero who conquered the Dark Lord.
I love this song. It's so funny. All right, Luke. So who was your chapter MVP?
My chapter MVP was Tom Riddle. I thought he was pretty interesting. It's nice. It's interesting to see the similarities that we've had with Harry interacting with Dumbledore and Professor Dippet. But I liked Riddle this chapter. I thought he did quite a few things, and he got Harry to, you know, actually see some information.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled him back in time, which was
Pretty cool.
crazy. The first time we've been pulled into a memory.
True.
Pretty interesting stuff that he did.
Okay.
about
My personal favorite person was the Cupid dwarf who tackled Harry Potter.
Yeah,
That was
pretty
awesome.
good. That's pretty good. Yeah,
It was just awesome.
Yeah.
I have no other comment. Just funny.
Hey, guess what? You're listening to a podcast. That means you probably like listening to content through your earbuds. Let us give you a free audiobook from audible.com so that you can listen along to the book that we're going through right now, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. To do so, go to www.thepodcastthat.com/support us and use our special Audible affiliate link to start your free 30-day trial today.
I think that wraps us up.
All right. I'm going to do a whole bunch of social media things now that people don't usually visit, but we would like you to. So your challenge is try one. Try us. You'll like us. We have a website. It's been there for almost a year now. It's called thepodcastthat.com. Check it out. All of our episodes are there. You can leave comments on any episode, this one included. You can email us at the podcast that must not be named at gmail.com. We're on Twitter. You can find out what we look like. We post pictures at Not Named Podcast.
Subscribe and rate us on iTunes. Leave us a comment there or on YouTube, where we have all of our episodes available in video form with no actual video, but it's there.
Feel free to look up our family of podcasts at the podcast that. We have the podcast that drinks and knows things, a Game of Thrones watching podcast. We're going to come back and talk to you again next week when we discuss Chapter 14.
Cornelius Fudge, Stay Imaginary.